Hi friends, welcome to today's video. Thanks for joining me. This video is going to be on e.l.f.'s latest drop. I just got these in the mail. They're expanding their liquid camo blushes, and now we have bronzers and contours in the same liquid camo formula. I ordered a few shades to try out, and I'm surprised by this launch, honestly, because I didn't see it coming. I think they did a sneak peek maybe the day or two before the actual official launch date of these products, but that's it. That was the only sort of heads up that we had that something new was coming. I feel like e.l.f. is launching products a lot lately, and they're just kind of showing you maybe something on Instagram before, like a day or two, and then boom, they drop us a new product, a new launch. But I'm excited because e.l.f. really does make some great products. And as you can tell, I have most of my makeup already done. I've got eyes, foundation, concealer. I did not set the entire face just because these are going to be liquid formulas. The only setting that I did was under the eyes and through my T-zone. I will talk you through the products towards the end of the video, and I will tell you what I'm using for today's eye look. I try to plug in as many e.l.f. products as I can. I'm using some of their new glitter eyeshadows that I've already done a video on, so if you haven't seen it, check it out after you watch this video. That's another new launch that I posted last week. So I feel like, again, they're just throwing new stuff at us all the time. So let's go ahead and get into the new products for today's video, apply them, give you my thoughts, and kind of see how this product works over my foundation today. We're gonna start off with the Camo Liquid Bronzer and Contour. I picked up two shades. They didn't have swatches when this product went live, which was exclusive on their site initially. So I just looked at the photos that they posted, which I feel like they could have done some swatches on Instagram to let us know, consumers, what shade is the best match. I kind of ballparked it, and I'm hoping these are gonna work out for me. These are $7 a piece. So the first one that is very cool tone is the shade Fair. This one I purchased with the thought of using it as an actual contour because it is very cool tone, as you can see there. And I'll do some swatches up close. And then I picked this shade Light. I don't remember what number this was. I think this was number 3. And this one is a lot more warm in comparison to the first one. This is the lightest shade in this range. This one is just a little bit more of a goldeny, kind of classic looking bronzer. And I hope that the two together will actually give me a nice sort of sculpted look and a nice bronze glow. For a quick size comparison, the new Camo Liquid Bronzer and Contour is the same size as their existing liquid blushes. These came out several months ago. There's 2 new shades that I'm going to show you that I purchased. I think it's 3 total shades that they're adding to the line of blushes. The other shade that I did not buy was a lilac. I didn't know how that was going to look on me, and I typically don't gravitate towards more lilac, lavender, purple type of blushes, so I didn't purchase that. So I did pick up the other 2 that I thought I could make some use out of. So let's go ahead and start off with the Fair number 1 and actually contour. I'm going to use my e.l.f. Dual Complexion Brush. This is a fantastic brush. So if you're going to order one of these new products, add this brush to your order or in store when you go shopping. It's incredible. I use it all the time. This is a swatch of the Fair shade, which I believe is labeled as number 1 on the website. As you can see, it's very cool toned. And right next to it is the light shade. As you can see, is much more warm. I believe this is number 3. If my numbers are incorrect, I will put it correctly on the screen for you. But as you can see, those are the 2 shades, Fair and Light. I'm going to pair these new products with a foundation that is very reliable for me. I mixed 2 of my favorites out of my collection, and they happen to be high-end. The first one is the Estée Lauder Double Wear, and I added some of the Clinique Serum foundation, which I absolutely love. The shade in this one is WN04 Bone, which is a little darker. This one is my year-round shade in Porcelain, and it's a little light for me right now. So what I did was I just mixed the 2. Both of these wear well, and they never really interfere with the performance of my bronzers, blushes, contours. So that's why I chose to use this today. And for my concealer, in case you're curious, it's the L'Oreal Infallible Full Coverage Concealer in the shade 330 Ivory. So that's the concealer that I chose today. I did set it with the Maybelline Fit Me Loose Powder, again, just under the eyes and through the T-zone. And now we get to contour. The first thing that I notice when I take this applicator out is that there's quite a bit of product on the applicators. So the applicator itself is quite cool. It's a rounded doe foot, which is nice because you can do more precise dots, which I think is ideal when you're contouring because you want that in a specific spot where you personally like to apply your contour. Typically, it's in the hollows of the cheekbone. A good guideline is to follow the top of your ear and then just kind of do a dot. And that is quite great. Whoa. Okay. I'm only going to do a dot, and I'm going to use my dual complexion brush. Whoa. Okay. To blend this out. Again, following the top, or you can use your finger and kind of feel where you can kind of tell underneath your cheekbone. And then I'm going to just dab this out. I did wipe off my brush really well. It's just stained because I use it all the time. So it should not interfere with the tone that we're getting here. And you know, that definitely blended out quite nicely. I'm not used to using a lot of contour products because I typically don't. It's a step that is nice to do every now and again, but for day to day, I kind of just skip it because it's very time consuming. So I don't even mess with it half the time, but it's blending out nicely. Okay, so that is very gray. Okay, so when I blend this out, I'm getting kind of that gray tone, yes, but I'm also seeing kind of like a rosiness. And I did wipe off my brush really well, so I know it's not an existing product that was on my brush. That's interesting. Let me take my sponge and kind of clean this up. I mean, it's blending out nicely. I don't feel like it's patchy. I don't feel like it's doing anything weird. It's actually really nice, the formula. I just think for me, it's just quite striking to see how cool tone this really is and to see a more chiseled, sculpted look, because I typically don't do this. But I thought, you know what, I'd give it a try and see how that goes. I'm going to use what's left on the brush and kind of go on the sides of the nose. I don't want to add extra product because this is incredibly pigmented. I wasn't ready, okay? I was not ready. Okay, so that's blending out quite nicely. Now you could take some of this and sculpt underneath the jawline. If you want, you can sculpt around the forehead or your temples. It's your preference. I typically don't do contouring, as I said before, just because it's an extra step that I feel like I can honestly cut out. So what I'm going to do is wipe off my brush really well on my paper towel here, and then I want to go in with the more bronzy warm tone because I feel like this sort of cool tone shade definitely causes that more sculpted look to happen. And then when you add a bronzer, it's what brings a little bit more color, more life to the skin. So I do feel like out of both of them, I'm probably going to get the most use out of this shade that's more of an actual bronzer. I'm going to do some little dots so you can see the pigmentation on this product here. But I typically would probably go on the back of my hand working this in and then blending. But I see a lot of people on Instagram and even in videos when I do get a chance to watch them, people dot it directly. So I just figured I'd try that. Okay. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That's very warm. Okay. So we're like opposite spectrums. Super cool and gray and then super warm. But I do like the range of colors. I feel like they have some nice shades for lighter skin tones, some for medium tan, and then some for the deeper skin tones as well, which is great. Okay, I need to stop yapping. I need to blend this in. So based off of this section here, I feel like it's a very easy to blend product, even though it's very pigmented, and I like that. So I gotta give them kudos for that because it is intimidating when you put something so dark. You kind of stop and think, oh my gosh, am I really gonna be able to blend this out? And I'm glad that I am. I'm not having issues with it, so I'm happy about that. So let's do a little less on this side because I learned my lesson already. And let me just blend this in. And I think those two dots, again, too much. Way to go, Lexi, too much. I would suggest starting with one dot and build from there. And I always like to take my bronzer over my nose just to give me a little bit of a kind of vacation glow all over and kind of put the bronzer on the high points of the face where you typically would get color. And I do this year round, even though we're in the cooler months and soon we'll be in the winter, unfortunately. I'm still gonna do it because I like having that warmth and that kind of vacation glow all the time. So I haven't done this side. So this is just the contour side. And then here is the contour and the bronzer. I think the bronzer is a nice shade. It is quite dark and warm, but it is very doable and super easy to apply and blend. So let's do just one dot on this side and see how that looks. That is a pretty large dot because of the rounded applicator. So that's why I suggested just starting with one dot and build from there, because you can always add, and it's easier to do that than to try to remove too much. And as you can see, just kind of stippling initially, that one dot can really spread pretty far. So I think that they did a great job. So far, I'm impressed. Very impressed. I like how this looks really smooth over my foundation. And again, I didn't set it, so I'm kind of curious to see how well this is going to blend over maybe, let's say, a translucent setting powder that's been applied over foundation. So I think I'm going to try that tomorrow, but this looks really nice and smooth. I like how these are very easy to apply and blend. So it is intimidating initially seeing such an intense, bold color coming from these, but they're easy to use and blend, so don't be intimidated and afraid to try them. They blend it out beautifully and they look really smooth and seamless over my foundation, which is great. Out of the two shades, the bronzy one is the one that I will use the most. I don't see myself using this shade, the Fair, for contouring on a day-to-day basis. Maybe for like a full glam look, maybe for like a holiday tutorial, I will probably use it, and I would try to see how much I can use this product, the contour shade, in my routine, because I don't typically contour. I thought I'd try something different for today's video and show you a few shades. Let's get into the new blushes. They have a few new shades. I picked up 2 shades. There's 3 total for this line, and basically what they've done is expanded the existing line. So I have a few shades from the existing liquid camo blush range that came out a couple months back. I believe it was this year. So what I'm going to do is swatch these 2 new ones, and then we'll compare them in tone to some of my other ones that I have. So the 2 shades that I picked up is Cheeky Lychee and Copper Etiquette. That's a really kind of warm shade. And then this one is quite cool and a little bit more of a pinky tone. And again, the applicator is the same as the contour and the bronzer with that sort of rounded look to it. And what I will do is swatch these for you as well. Whoa, these are also very pigmented. That's the thing that I learned the hard way using the first shades that I bought. So let me show you the swatches. This is the Cheeky Lychee shade right here, which is a really bright kind of corally pink actually. And then right next to it is the Copper Etiquette shade, which is, again, a little bit warmer, a little bit deeper, more on the kind of peachy, slightly terracotta kind of vibe. The third shade that I did not order was the lavender shade or lilac kind of purple shade. I typically don't go for those, so I skipped it entirely. So I wanted to see how these new shades compare to some of my existing shades. And just based off of looking at the ones that I own, I think, let's see, the Pinky Promise is that really bright kind of cool pink. So let's swatch that next to, whoa. Okay, so this is the brighter pink. This shade here is called Pinky Promise. So as you can see, they're 2 totally different tones. This is a lot more bold in your face, a lot brighter. And this is just a little bit toned down and much more coral, which is the new shade. And then out of the other 2 that I own, I think this one is probably closest to the Copper Etiquette in tone. And this shade is called Dusty Rose. So I will swatch them next to each other so you can see. Here's the new shade edition, Copper Etiquette, and then this is Dusty Rose. So you can kind of see how they are different, and I like that. I like that they've added shades that are different and not super close to what's already existing. And I like the tones of these new ones. Now to decide which shade of the new ones do I use. I think I'm going to go for the more pinky kind of coral shade, the lychee one, because the shade Copper Etiquette is very warm, and I've got a lot of warmth going on from this liquid camo bronzer, and I feel like this would just be maybe too much, but you know what? Who cares? Let's just try both of them. I mean, right? Why not? Let's just start with the Cheeky Lychee on this side. And I'm going to wipe off the applicator as best as I can and then do the tiniest little dot because, again, these are very pigmented. Same brush, I just wiped it off really well. And let's just blend. Ooh, that's a pretty shade. I like that a lot. That's really pretty. And a tiny, tiny little bit goes such a long way. So these will last you so long. And these are also $7 as well. Yes, I love that. That is pretty. Very, very pretty. And it just went right over the bronzer with ease. Now let's do the warmer shade. This is Copper Etiquette, so you can see this one. And let's do, ooh, a little dot. Maybe a big dot. I always go overboard with blush, you know? It's one of those things. I love it. I love blush so much. And it does so much for your face. It's like an instant transformation that I just can't skip. I just can't do it. Ooh, that is pretty. I thought this was going to be a little too intense for my fair skin and too warm. But no, this is pretty. I like this shade. It's kind of like a more terracotta, kind of more earthy vibe, a little bit more toasty than this side that's a little bit more cool, more bright. Yes. So here is the Copper Etiquette over the bronzer. And then here is Cheeky Lychee over the bronzer. What do you think? Which shade do you like best? I wanted to show you the back of my hand. I removed my swatches and there is a bit of staining left behind, so these will last quite a bit of time. I have 2 dots of each shade because I need to balance out my face and kind of make this look a little bit more even. And typically what I do for a blush application is I put it on the back of my hand or a palette and work it into the brush. I'm going to start with the Cheeky Lychee and just kind of tap it over the Copper Etiquette. I'm going to do the same thing with the Copper Etiquette shade. Kind of get that into the brush and then just kind of tap it right over this side that I had the pink blush. So my final thoughts on the new shades of the Camo blushes. They're beautiful and I really do love them. I think that they're really intense but easy to blend and they have a lot of pigment. So I feel like I definitely have quite a bit of blush on today. And I think going forward I need to scale back even more so than what I applied today because I want a little bit of a softer look. And it's okay for just for this video and for review purposes and for swatches and demos. I'm fine with showing it to you like this, but I will be wearing these a little bit less than what I applied today in the video. But I feel like sometimes going a little bit more kind of shows you the swatches better and the color better than doing a teensy bit where you can barely see it. And I wanted you to be able to see an accurate representation of these shades. Same thing applies to the contour and the bronzer. I definitely will be using a tiny little dot. The amount that I used today was far too much. But even with that being said, they're pigmented, easy to work with. They went over my foundation with ease and I will be using them again. And I definitely will use those blushes again. So I do think that e.l.f. did a great job with this formula and I'm so glad to have them and to continue using them. And if you like liquid contours, bronzers, and blushes, I think you will really enjoy these. So definitely check them out. I'm going to list and link them down below for you. So just quickly, I wanted to kind of touch on comparing these new liquid formulas from e.l.f. to their existing products. These are the new ones that we reviewed today, and they also have the Halo Glow wands. Now, these have been out for quite some time. I am going to throw mine away because it's starting to separate, but I wanted to kind of give you some thoughts. Obviously, number one, you can tell there's a difference in packaging. This has a doe foot applicator, and these come with the more squeeze tube and that puffy tip that gets really messy. I do think that the new Camo liquid formula is just a little bit more intense and more pigmented than these. And obviously these, they're called Halo Glow because these have a bit of a sheen to them and they give more of a dewy kind of finish. Whereas these, I don't feel like they're overly dewy and glowy. There's no shimmer in these new ones. And I just feel like it looks more skin-like on the skin when it's applied. These to me, at least on my skin type, which is kind of combo to oily, these definitely gave a little bit more of a radiant kind of slightly shimmery look, which isn't bad. You can see the sheen and the shimmer right through this clear window here. And again, mine are starting to separate because they're old and I don't really reach for these that much. They were great initially. They were fine, but I just didn't really care for them as much. And I have the fair light in the contour and then the light medium in the sort of more bronzy warm shade. I do think that this one, the new one, is a lot more gray in comparison to the fair light in the Halo Glow wands. And I think that these are pretty close, except this one looks just a little bit deeper and it has that sheen to it in the formula. And out of these two, I think I would prefer the new liquid camos over these. These can get messy and they start to separate. As you can see, I've had mine I want to say a year and a half, maybe closer to 2 years. Just wanted to throw that out there in case you have these and you're wondering how these compare. And also the Putty Blush line for bronzer and blush. They're much different than these. I think these obviously have more pigment, even though the putty ones are pigmented. The putty ones are a whole different texture. And I think that they're a little bit thicker. They do last a long time. I have quite a few of the putty blushes and the bronzer, and I do reach for those often. I like them both for different reasons. I think those putty ones are a little bit softer and less intense and less bold than these formulas for bronzer and contour and the blushes. So I hope that that comparison there is helpful for you. And I know this video is mostly focused on the new launches for e.l.f. that just came out a few days ago, but I have these glosses that are new from CoverGirl sitting on my vanity, and I only ordered 2 shades to start. And I thought I'd just throw them into today's video because I still need to do a lip combo and I do want to try these formulas. These are the new Clean Fresh Yummy Plumper glosses. So CoverGirl has the Yummy Gloss formula, which I've tried a couple shades, and it's actually a really nice, very easy to use and wear gloss formula. Super glossy, very pretty on the lips, but these are a little bit different. These are plumping formulas. I picked 2 shades. The first one that's very fun and different, just to try something new, is the shade called Pixie Dust, and that's a pretty kind of pinky duochrome that shifts kind of bluish lavender. Do you see that? So pretty. So I bought this with the mindset of using it as a topper, and the other shade is a little bit deeper, and this one's called Encourage Mint. Mint as in M-I-N-T, like an actual candy, and I think that's why they called it that, because of the plumper is more of a minty kind of feel. This shade is a little bit deeper, honestly, in person than it looked online. I ordered both of these shades from Ulta, and this one definitely looks like a very intense, deep rose. So I thought I'd share these with you really quickly, do some swatches in case you're curious about this new formula. I know I personally am. I've been looking at them for days. I've had these for, I think, like 2 or 3 weeks now, and I haven't even tried them. So let's start. Actually, let's start with the lightest shade. This is the Pixie Dust. That looks so cool. Do you see that? So pretty. Ooh, and it smells pretty minty. And I would say that's pretty strong, like a strong mint. I hope it doesn't burn. And I think the applicators as well is very similar, if not exact, to the original Yummy glosses. So let's go ahead and do Pixie Dust. Ooh. Oh, that is so cute. Okay. Okay. Ooh, I feel it. Ooh. All right. Don't get this in your mouth because it doesn't taste very good. And 2, it's a very strong, minty, kind of cooling tingle that it's immediate. As soon as you apply it, you feel it right away. It doesn't burn and it's not painful, but it's very cooling, and I feel like it's definitely intensifying. This is probably the mintiest plumper that I've used in quite some time. I don't like anything that burns or stings or makes my lips feel like they're on fire because I do not like that feeling. I think it feels uncomfortable. But this is a pretty shade. This is Pixie Dust. And I love how glossy this looks. It makes your lips look fuller, juicier, and more plump, of course, because of that gloss shine. Now, as far as the actual plumping formula, I don't know, but my lips look nice and smooth. And I can see that kind of blue sparkle. And you have to get really close to the lips to be able to see it. And it feels very smooth. Again, do not get this in your mouth because now my tongue is tingling. The actual little particles, the shimmer that's in it is not very gritty. It's not chunky where you can feel it. It's a nice smooth formula. So I think they did a good job with that. Let's take this off and go in with Encouragement. And this is Encouragement. I think the shade is really pretty. It's a lot deeper in person, and this one definitely feels very cooling and just a hint of a kind of sting. Like, not bad where I can continue using it, but it definitely is something that you will notice. You will feel it. You know it's there. This one to me feels a lot stronger than this one, or maybe it's because I had some of this already kind of tingling my lips to begin with, and now reapplying makes it a little bit more intense, but this is definitely, okay, it's tingling. I was not prepared. I thought this was going to be more cooling, something very quick, and it's over really fast. No, this is definitely tingling a little bit more than what I expected, but I like this shade. I think I need to do a lip liner first, and that's, you know, one of the things that I would change. I wouldn't just wear it like this. I'm so used to lip liner to kind of sculpt and perfect the lip shape and then apply. But I do think that this is a really pretty color. I don't know if I would choose this shade to go with this cheek combo and this eye. So let's go ahead and take this off because it is actually, this one burns a little bit, just a little bit. Not painful where it's like immediate no, but if you don't like plumpers, just stay away completely, because this one, maybe because it's called Encouragement, maybe it has extra mint than this one, but whew, wow. That's a little bit more intense. Okay, CoverGirl. Now that I've taken off the lip plumper, you can still feel a tingle and a very cooling sensation. This feels quite minty and kind of a little bit more on the spicier side than what I expected. Not like a terrible burn, like this feels painful, because it doesn't. But again, it's personal preference, so it may not feel like that to me, but it may to you. I would say proceed with caution with those, because wowie, I was not prepared for the intense. That was more than what I thought. So let's go in with some of the e.l.f. lip oils. These are from their holiday collection that I've already reviewed, and I've shared my thoughts. I adore this formula. Nourishing, comforting, and I think that's exactly what my lips need right now. I'm going to start by lining my lips with the L'Oreal Color Riche lip liner in Eau Naturale. And I'm also going to use that lip liner to kind of fill in a little bit on the sides. If you have not tried this formula from L'Oreal for their lip liners, it's really, really good. I thought I'd try this shade here called Jam Session. Something a little bit darker to go with the dark eye, which we'll get to the eye combo very soon. It's stunning. I love that color. Let's go in with Jam Session right over the top. Oh yeah. This feels so much better. Thank you, e.l.f. for rescuing my lips, because that CoverGirl was And that's the lip liner and the Jam Session lip oil together. I actually like it. I typically don't wear shades like this, but we're doing things different today just for fun, and I actually like it. I like that kind of light berry hint, and it looks really pretty. I like that a lot, and that formula is top notch. If you have not, again, tried these lip oils from e.l.f., what are you waiting for? These are incredible. Get the set and thank me later, because they are thebomb.com. And this is the full face complete today. What do you think? I actually really like these blushes, the contour, the bronzer. This lip combo is beautiful, and I definitely will wear it again. It's giving off those fall vibes, and it's playing off really nicely with the eyes, which are also from e.l.f. It's their new glitter eyeshadows. I have a little bit of a powder bronzer in my crease just to give me a little bit of definition, and then I took the Fine as Fleck glitter eyeshadow from e.l.f. in the shade Filthy Rich. So that's that really dark brown with a green olive shift to it. I took the Filthy Rich glitter shadow with my finger and applied it directly over the eyeshadow primer, which is actually something different for me, and it's the Lock It Down eyeshadow primer from e.l.f. I typically use my MAC Painterly Paint Pot, but this time I decided to try the glitter from e.l.f. over their primer and see how it wears. But look at that, the shine, oh my god, just stop, right? Such a pretty color. It's a nice brown with a green shift to it. It's kind of like an olivey kind of shade to me, and it looks so pretty. Like, I just can't stop looking at my eyes today. Like, incredible. Love that. Super, super pigmented. And then I took the shade White Hot, which is the lightest shade in the range, and it's an icy white. I used my pinky finger to apply that into the inner half or the inner part of my eye and kind of blended that just ever so slightly into Filthy Rich. And that is pretty much all I have on my upper lids. I took a dark brown eyeshadow from e.l.f. and it's the Bite Size Eyeshadows in Truffles. So I took that dark brown shade, ran that on the lower lashes, blended it out with this warm shade. Then I took a combo of these two shades, the brown and the black, and I stamped it on the outer half of my upper lash line. And that was what I did for eyeliner. And of course I had to use my Lash Xtndr, which is my favorite drugstore tubing formula, also from e.l.f. I did 2 coats of that on the top, and I did a regular mascara on the bottom lashes. And that is my eye look today. What do you think? I think it's so pretty. The shine and the glitter on these is unreal. So pretty. I hope this video was helpful, seeing the swatches, the demo comparisons, and kind of talking you through today's look, and also seeing those new glosses that I kind of threw into today's video from CoverGirl. Let me know your thoughts on this new launch. Are you buying these products? Are you enjoying your e.l.f. products? What are your favorites? Give me your favorites from the drugstore in the comment section down below. I'm going to list and link everything, including all the products that I'm wearing today, in the description box for you in case you want to try any of them for yourself. Thanks for being here, for watching today's video. Subscribe for more videos like this in the future, and you can also follow me on Instagram. It pops up here on the screen. I hope you're doing well. Take care, you guys, and I will catch you very soon. Bye-bye.